Get ready to drop the puck, take a free throw, and step up to the plate. It's time for the Metro East Sports Podcast on lineupmedia.fm.
From the Lineup Media Studios, welcome to the Metro East Sports Podcast, season number 2, show number 32, recorded Monday, September 13th, 2021. Thanks always to partners Cassens, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Callaway Home Loans, Keller Williams Marquee, Jeb and Ginger Blassingame, Integrity Spine and Joint Center, and Front Office Fiduciary Network. We're talking all things sports in the Metro East. I'm Dave Leip, and as always, the guests make the show. Tonight, I'm super stoked because we've got our first ever motocross rider, Bubba Pauli. Just behind him, coming up about 6:30, Mike Walters, Marquette girls tennis coach, and he's bringing his niece, one of his star players. And then our final guest tonight will be Kathy Conan, Breeze Central volleyball coach, who has her team off to an amazing start at Breeze Central. 3 things you can do to help. As always, number 1, subscribe to our podcast. It's free and you love it, so why not? Number 2, follow us in all of our social media formats. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. Follow us. We're easy to find. And number 3, if you have a story idea, email me at mespdave@gmail.com. And I got to promote our new feature, Integrity Spine and Joint Center Team of the Month. Could be a park and rec team, could be a middle school team. Last month's Team of the Month was Belleville East Girls Tennis. If you have a team to nominate for Integrity Spine and Joint Center Team of the Month, email me at mespdave@gmail.com. Please put Team of the Month in the subject line. We have had lawnmower racers, Rick Fox of Old Farts Racing, the Silver Fox. We've had Curtis Francois, owner of Worldwide Technology Speedway. But you, Bubba Pauli, are the first motocross rider that we've had on the show. So welcome to the show. Give me one of these to get going here.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
So you are not just a motocross rider. You are a professional supercross racer and the GM owner of Double Eagle MX Racing Team. Did I get all that right?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay, fill us in. What's your official title? What are you doing right now?
Okay, so supercross racer first and foremost at the professional level. Been there since 2013. And I am the owner of the International Supercross Race Team, which our title sponsors feature madparts.com, Double Eagle MX, and Numara Technologies.
Okay, so you're the owner of this International Supercross team. Did you found that concept? Was that your idea?
Yeah. It's been since 2017. Started the team and been building on it ever since.
Wow, that's cool. I want to get to that. I want to get to that for sure. And you live in Hamel.
Yeah, it is outside Edwardsville here, and between Hamel and got a good practice track and shop and everything at my house. So it's awesome to be home when we're not traveling the world.
That's perfect. Okay, there's so much I want to unpack with you. I want to start with, how did Theodore, now known as Bubba Pauli, get started in this whole motorcycle business?
Oh man, where to
we
start?
Got time.
Yeah, I was just a young kid and enjoyed riding BMX. That's really how it started. Building dirt jumps in the backyard with my buddies, and one of our friends growing up had a dirt bike, and he would ride it every once in a while. And I was like, I want one of those. I want to do that. It was just instant draw to it. So I was 10 years old and begged my parents for a dirt bike and got one for my birthday that year, and I was just hooked. If you're a 10-year-old and you ever get on a dirt bike and it doesn't scare you, it's going to be the best thing in the world. I think I was a little scared in the moment, but I was attracted to that fear. So it was awesome, man. I started riding and just every day turned into wanting to race. So I was 11 years old, started racing, and just started progressing through the ranks at that point.
Where did you grow up?
Holiday Shores, actually.
So you're from this area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Born and raised.
All right. High school?
I went to Edwardsville High School briefly, and then I transferred to Midwest Christian Academy. It's a homeschooling program out of Decatur. So we were traveling the country around through my freshman year and So attendance at school here in Edwardsville was limited, so I opted through a homeschooling program.
And
at
that was
point.
mainly to accommodate your sports travel schedule.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common.
Yeah, the amateur nationals here in the U.S. typically last around a week, and we're looking at one of those a month. Plus, wintertime, obviously, we can't do a lot of training around here due to weather, so a lot of training facilities in place in the southern states, so we would kind of migrate down there.
So other sports before you got into BMX, or was it always just riding the bike?
Yeah, I played football and baseball a little bit, actually kind of a little bit while I was riding and racing as well. And I wasn't, I just had to pick one ultimately. It's not that my parents made me pick one, but for me, it was the way I'm wired. I want to do something the best I can, not dabble with a bunch of little different things.
So your family isn't like a motorcycle family?
No, my dad, always had a motorcycle, like street bike and stuff, and grew up riding trail bikes and stuff a little bit. But as far as motocross, there was none of that.
So how old were you when you had your first race?
I was 11 when I started.
Where was that race?
It was at Splinter Creek Dirt Riders, and that's in Alton, Illinois.
Cool. Yeah. So I knew you said you started riding the bike when you were 11, but I didn't know if you actually got into the whole racing thing immediately. But you started racing right away.
Yeah, well, I spent about a year riding. It felt like it was forever at that point, though. I'm like, man, I've been riding forever. And looking back on it, it was only a year. But I rode every day, whether it was raining or snowing or hot. I would just get on the bike and ride it.
And because you lived in Holiday Shores, there were places right there that you didn't have to go. Like, where did you ride?
Well, we actually moved out closer towards Hamel, so we weren't in the subdivision setting at that point. So we had about 10 acres to ride on. So, yeah, I could just ride in the backyard at that point. So
and that was a family move where it's like, this kid is good at this. He needs a place where he can do it. Let's do this. So
well,
that was a family move?
I didn't actually get a dirt bike until we moved.
Okay.
So that was kind of the opening for that, because I wanted one, and my parents were like, no, we live in a subdivision. You're not getting a dirt bike. And now that we had some land, they're like, okay, we'll get him a dirt bike.
And at what age? So like sophomore year, that's when you start to homeschool to accommodate the worldwide travel? So 1 year of high school and then?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, basically just 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then in 2013, you are a rookie on the Supercross tour with two dudes in a Tundra.
Yeah.
Describe 2013 for me.
It was very intimidating. Growing up, idolizing all the guys that I had to go race with at that point. So, the program was another rider put together a program with me and himself. He's based out of Belleville, and we had some local sponsors that helped us out, and it was really just a kind of a joint effort. There wasn't a whole lot of real structure to it, but there was enough to get us to go to the races, and it was very fun. And there was a lot of things I looking back, I wish I could have changed in the moment, but you live and learn. So, and the season did not go very well for me. I was excited and not quite prepared enough, so I ended up with some injuries and stuff pretty early on that year. And we just come back and heal up and just kept pushing through those. And every year it's been getting better.
You're a 20-year-old, right? That year,
yeah.
As a rookie. Are you out there by yourself except for with your teammate? Like no parental supervision, no coaches with you, anybody making sure that you're minding a productive schedule?
Yeah, there was none of that. It was basically a couple mechanics and my teammate and us. There was typically four of us that would go to the races together, and very different than what we're doing now.
Yeah, I would imagine that was kind of like almost like college days. Like on the road and let's have fun, and probably, you tell me, how much fun did you guys have that rookie season?
Yeah, there was a lot of just random moments and things that we did, traveling the country, and, one moment everybody's your best friend. The next moment, you're getting in fights with everybody. It's, kind of, and then the best friend the next day type of thing. So, if I was never in a, true college setting, but if I kind of gather that's how that would go if you're living with somebody.
And I think also you are racing against the same guys every single week. The tour goes week to week. There's a race every single week, and you're going all over the country. So friendships are made, and enemies are made on the track, and you get to know everybody's coach, everybody's owners, everybody's mechanics, right?
Yeah. We race 17 rounds of the Supercross series, and then there's an outdoor series throughout the summer we race as well. So that's 12 rounds of that, and yeah, it's coast to coast. So it's a big industry, but it's a small industry too. Once you get in it, you make enemies really quick if you're not on the right page with some people.
And I would imagine also the tracks are just so different. I mean, track to track. I mean, some of the dirt and so the way some of them set up some of their tracks. And that first year, you must have been thinking, man, this is going to be crazy. How am I going to do this?
Yeah, that's one of the most difficult things racing here in the U.S. because I've raced around the world as well. And the other riders say in the U.S., one championship here, 17 rounds, a different city each week. So the soil is completely different. Of course, we're either a football or baseball stadium, so the shape of the floor doesn't change too much, but the soil's drastically different. We could be in sand in Florida. We could be in rock hard clay in Phoenix. We could be in the soft topsoil like we are here, and that makes a big difference on what we're racing on.
And then it's bike setup too at that point too, I imagine, depending on what you're racing on. Does that matter?
Yeah. I mean, you could have a bike that works great, here in St. Louis, and then you go to Florida and it's horrible.
So where are you traveling these days? Fast forward to now, you're a 27-year-old. You've been doing this for 8 years now. And how many weeks you're on the road these days in a normal non-COVID year?
Yeah, so a couple of years leading up to COVID, I raced 40 races, give or take, depending on the year. But I travel around the world. I spent 9 weeks in Europe the last year before we got shut down for COVID. Raced in Spain and France. We were in Finland as well. We raced in the Dominican Republic that year. So we spent some different places there. I've raced over in India before, up in Canada, Mexico. So we get all over the world. I've never been to Australia to race yet, though, so that's on the to-do list.
And when you're going to these places, are you introducing your sport to these audiences? Or is this something that they're already familiar with?
Yeah, most everybody's pretty familiar with. When we go out of the country, especially like the third world countries, it's the whole town, village, everything is so excited for this event. They're promoting one event, for a year. And then, the foreigners get there and race, and it's like you're a superstar. It's crazy. I remember when we went to India, they had like the official welcoming at the airport, and they were putting blood on our foreheads or something. I don't know what it was, but in the local, I don't know, tribal chants and music and stuff going on, and they put us on the back of a truck and rode us out of the airport on it. It was pretty crazy.
Some other cool places you've raced besides India? Internationally, that is?
Well, one of the coolest places we raced was in Hawaii, technically the U.S., but wow. That trip didn't go well, though. I got knocked out and ended up in the hospital there, so I don't remember much of Hawaii. That was the only time I've ever been to Hawaii, but it was in Honolulu at the big stadium there, and I was really excited for that event. That was right after our Supercross championship got over. It was the following week, so we raced in Las Vegas one weekend and then flew to Hawaii, and didn't go as planned. So I'm looking forward to going back to that race. We just kind of have to wait for the COVID restrictions to lift.
Last weekend, you told me you went to Wichita, Kansas.
Yep.
And how'd it go?
It was pretty good. Obviously not as good as I wanted to do because I didn't win, but I finished third in the 450 Pro class. It was a pretty good competition there. The rider that won was out of Texas, and some people from a handful of different states. It was a good off-season race. They run at night and had some amateur classes and stuff as well, but the pro class was the big feature at that event.
And to qualify for the feature, how many preliminary races did you have to run to qualify?
At that event, all the pro riders that signed up were able to race.
So, like, you get a bye past all the qualifying, whereas other people have to go through qualifying.
Yeah. In our typical events, we'll have time qualifying sessions where we have to set a lap time, and they'll start the day with 60 to 70 entries, and then 40 will move on to the evening program, and then 20 will move on to the main event program.
And what was the purse for the champion in Wichita?
It was a $10,000 total purse. So winner took home $1,800 out of that one, and then they divide the rest out.
Single day's work for him, $1,800, because he didn't have to race on Friday.
Yeah,
right?
Just single day at that one.
Okay. And at your level, typically, how many people are on your team? You're a team owner. How many riders are on your team?
So myself and two other riders. We have a rider, Logan Carno, out of Ohio, and he finished 10th in the Supercross Championship this year.
Oh, so he's not based out of here. He's not based out of Hamel. He's on your team, but he lives somewhere else.
Yeah, correct. And then Juan Cross is the other rider. He's from Barcelona, Spain, and he is the 4-time Spanish Supercross champion over there.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
he actually calls Edwardsville home when he comes to the U.S. So he's been on my team for the last few years now. So
next time he's here, let's have him on the show. I think it'd be great to listen to a Spaniard talk about motocross. I think that would be. How's his English?
It's pretty good. It's very cool because he speaks 6 languages and never took a foreign language class in school. He learned languages from traveling the world racing.
That's awesome.
And he speaks them very well.
Okay. I'm not done with you yet, but before I forget, at Bubba Pauli, that's Pauli on Instagram and Twitter, and he's easy to find on Facebook too. And any other websites where we can find you? I mean, I watched Bubba Pauli videos on YouTube for about 20 minutes at least before he came on. There's all kinds of great stuff to watch, man. He flies on that motorcycle, on that 450 Kawasaki.
Correct.
He flies, man, 40 feet in the air. How high are you?
Oh, yeah. We'll go 40 feet high, 80 to 100 feet long sometimes. It's pretty wild.
And so the first time you did that, you were scared, you were freaked out, or you were just, man, that's awesome. The first time you flew off a jump. Do you remember it? First time you caught really big air.
Yeah, the first time I caught really big air ever, I was probably 2 feet off the ground and probably jumped about 10 feet long. So, but it felt crazy because it's the first time you ever get, a motorcycle off the ground. It's unreal. Looking back on it, obviously you wouldn't feel anything at that point for my caliber now.
Yeah, nothing. How about now? When you get up there you're catching big air, like we said, 40 feet in the air, right? 80 feet long. Can you even articulate what you're thinking? Are you thinking anything?
Thinking about what's next. Honestly, we breathe and relax at that point. So, we'll be going sometimes 60 miles per hour when we hit those jumps like that. And that's our rest time when we're in the air. It's all about the approach, the takeoff, and being ready for what's next. And our heart rates are very high at that point. So any big, long, deep breaths you can get in is very valuable.
How did you learn those relaxation techniques? Through trial and error? Somebody pass those down to you? That's good coaching.
Yeah. I've worked with a variety of different coaches throughout my career. Currently just started working with a new coach a couple weeks ago, but yeah, you kind of live and learn for a while there. I didn't have any formal coaching for probably about 5 years of riding. And then my first ever coaching experience is actually with the coach I'm working with right now.
Really?
So I'm very excited to be back with him. It's Denny Dooley. He's out of Mattoon, Illinois. So he's got a lot of experience riding, racing. He raced professionally, but he's also rider development, runs a rider development program. And it's kind of just like, going back home. I wish I could have started working with him sooner, but very, very valuable coaching we got going on.
See yourself coaching anybody someday?
Yeah, so in my downtime, which I don't have a lot of downtime, I do one-on-one coaching sessions with any caliber rider. Most of the time we deal with beginner riders for one-on-one sessions. Most advanced riders work through group settings, except for professional riders typically work with one-on-one settings like myself. But yeah, I normally spend some of the summertime when we're limited on races coaching up-and-coming riders as well.
Out there at your track where you live near Hamel, right?
Most of the coaching takes place at Double Eagle MX, which is one of our team sponsors, and they're in Ellsbury, Missouri.
How far away is that?
About an hour, 20 minutes.
Okay. Worst injury?
Most painful, I broke my femur. That was pretty bad. I was 16 when I did that. I've had some internal injuries as well. So I've lacerated my kidneys, collapsed lungs. I had a pretty bad knee injury as well. That was one of the hardest ones to come back from.
How old are most guys when they retire from your sport?
Early 30s. Some of the guys, you'll see till late 30s, but at the professional level, there's, nobody under their 40s that are racing.
Nobody. Is there a seniors division?
Yeah, at the amateur level, there are, but not at the pro level.
What's the future of your sport? Do you see a lot of kids getting into motocross?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. The the amount of bike sales over the last year, much like bicycles, if you're familiar with that, there's nothing in the dealerships. They've just gone
sold out.
Yeah, the one good thing COVID economy had is outdoor activities just boomed. So there's a tremendous amount of new riders in our sport, which is awesome. The best thing that we can do, and I can do as a professional and a race team owner, is give those people something to look forward to and guide them into a good direction in our sport so they can stay on it.
When's the next local Supercross where our Metro East listeners can see Bubba Pauli do his thing?
So we'll be racing in the Dome America Center. I believe that's what it's called now, correct?
No idea.
Edward Jones Dome, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, where the Rams used to play.
Right.
We'll be racing there in April, I believe, this year. We'll also be at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis in April, and around the country. So that's going to be the closest Supercross event to St. Louis here.
I want to follow you in those races for sure. And did you say when your next race is? Besides those?
I don't really have anything lined up immediately yet. There might be a couple more off-season races coming up. Our season will actually start the first week of January. We'll be in Anaheim, California at Angel Stadium. So until then, it'll just be some off-season races that pop up here and there. Typically, I would travel to Europe and race some Supercross events throughout the fall, but travel restrictions right now are not looking too great for those events. A lot of those events are actually canceled at the moment anyway.
So I'm guessing Supercross is like all the other sports that COVID has really had a negative effect on professional opportunities.
Yeah, the amateur side of things are great because they're running on outdoor events and outside settings. But the professional Supercross level, we're inside sports stadiums, so it's just like any other sporting event where it's whatever the local government guidelines are is what we can do.
Okay, well, Bubba Pauli, are you still rocking the Phoenix handlebars?
Oh yeah,
foldable levers. You know what? When you're getting down in a turn and you're really getting down there and you're like tasting the dirt, you don't want to break a lever, so you gotta have the foldable ones, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh yeah.
Hate when those things break off and you get circuit brand hand protectors still probably.
Oh yeah. Actually banged those off a couple track markers at the races last weekend. So
that was me.
Save my fingers.
That was me pretending like I have one clue about Supercross, man. I just watched an interview where you were going through your bike and talk about things, and I'm like, man, I'm going to bring those up to Bubba Pauli, make him think.
Oh, you nailed it pretty good.
Well, I just said what you said. Any fool could do that. Well, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm a fan from now on. You're my favorite Supercross rider for sure, and I'm going to be rooting for you. I want to try to get over there and check out that race, and wish you the best of luck, man.
Yeah, man.
And you got a tennis court over there at your place, too. You told me about that. Tell our listeners about your tennis court you put in.
Yeah, so we got shut down racing, and last year with COVID, they canceled our season halfway through. So, I enjoy playing a little bit of tennis here and there. Good fun activity. Me and my girlfriend play and stuff. And the tennis courts were closed. I was like, man, what are we gonna do? So, went on the internet, bought a net, and marked off a good area in the backyard, and
started playing.
Slowly been grooming it better and better and better, and got all the official measurements and everything. So it's a good time. I enjoy that.
I think maybe some people underestimate the level of fitness it requires for your sport.
Yeah, it's very demanding.
So you're playing tennis like just kind of for some CrossFit, to get a little bit of cardio. I can see where that makes sense for you.
Yeah, it's more a recovery activity for us. I did a 15-minute practice moto the other day, and I had an average heart rate of 197, 205 max. So for 15 minutes.
197.
Yeah.
The strength, the cardio. You're in the gym every day? Working on core, working on upper body strength to control that bike?
Yeah, actually more lower body than upper body. We control the bike a lot with our core and our lower body. Our upper body more or less to control and stay relaxed of the handlebars and in the front end. But anything from basically the gas tank down and back is controlled from our lower body, and that's where the weight of the bike is, which is 250 pounds.
That's so cool. I like the way you explain that whole thing. What about yoga?
A lot of yoga every single day. Yoga every morning.
You hear that, folks? Every single athlete I bring on here, and we talk about their training. I'm like, what about yoga? What about yoga? And almost everybody's like, oh my God, it's the best for stretching and core. But yeah, totally for recovery and everything else, man.
Yeah, I'm the guy in the airport that's got the foam roller out and doing yoga between layovers and stuff, and everybody.
You are that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care. Airport, wherever, if it's dirty,
Airport
whatever,
yoga
I gotta
with
stretch.
Bubba Pauli.
Yeah. O'Hare Airport in Chicago has a yoga room, which is very nice.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yep. Check it out if you're ever stuck there for a couple hours.
Bubba Pauli, you are the best. Thanks so much for coming by. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.